Franklin, a writer with Unheard. I want to get a word from Nigel Fletcher as well, political historian, King's College London, also the co-founder of the Centre for Opposition Studies. Good afternoon to you, Nigel.
Good afternoon.
It's a bit of a mess out there, of course, isn't it? And I keep going back to 2010. The coalition we had then, which, look, lots of things happened that weren't to everyone's liking. But in terms of the management of that coalition, you had the kind of fantastic four of George Osborne, Cameron, Danny Alexander. What happened to Danny Alexander, by the way? And, of course, Nick Clegg. We know where he went. And it kind of sort of, this quartet did, in a management sense, it did sort of work.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were surprised by how effective the coalition was as a government. As you say, they managed to find a way of the quad kind of managing day-to-day business as a sort of inner cabinet. But if you think back to the aftermath of that election in 2010, where we had those sort of 10 days or so of kind of wrangling of the parties in the cabinet office before we came up with this agreement. In the immediate aftermath of it, you had lots of commentators saying it'll never last. There's no way these two parties who've just been on the campaign trail taking lumps out of each other are going to work together. And of course, at the famous Rose Garden press conference, there was a joke made about that when, in fact, about a joke, David Cameron was asked, whether he regretted saying, when he was asked on the campaign trail, what's your favourite joke? And he said Nick Clegg. And that was put to them in the Rose Garden. They laughed it off. But there was a serious sort of underpinning there, because politicians who are fighting each other in an election, there's no holds barred, and they really do sort of take lumps out of each other. So for them to come together after the election, people couldn't see that lasting, and it did. So I think we sometimes have to look at these things which look improbable. Frankly, everything is unprecedented until it happens.
Yeah, indeed. But could it happen with the Tories and Conservatives? I mean, it's just an utterly preposterous idea, I suppose. But there's no reason it can't. And as we were just saying, you've got to go back to the 1930s to see the last time that happened.
Between the Conservatives and Labour, yes. I think that, what you saw in, as Peter was saying there, in 1931, you had effectively a split in the Labour Party. Ramsay MacDonald led the National Labour Party. It turned out really to be basically him and a couple of friends who were left over. The rest of the Labour Party went off into opposition. And what happened after that, I think, is instructive, because we focus a lot on the last time that there was a changeover in the two main parties, when the Labour Party overtook the Liberals in the 1920s. It can happen in our system for that to happen. But what's interesting, I think, about 1931 there was that the Labour Party at the election after that, they collapsed. They collapsed from sort of 200 and whatever it was seats down to just 52. They looked as if they were finished. And at the next election in 1935, they started to come back. They were back into three figures, and they became the official opposition again, and they came back. But I think that we're not used to, in recent politics, these huge swings between the parties. And as Peter was alluding to in your last interview there, these rather small shares of the vote are being rewarded under our current system by huge majorities. And for Labour to have won this massive landslide on just over 30% of the vote, that's basically where Reform are now. It's perfectly credible if the opposition are divided, as they will be, between the Conservatives, Labour, Liberal Democrats, all the other parties. If Reform are sort of cleaning up as the largest sort of block of voters, they will be rewarded under first past the post in the same way as Labour have just been. And I think that really the signs are all there that is happening in the opinion polls, but also in actual votes in the local elections. And I really don't think that the commentariat and the sort of the political classes have really woken up to the fact that we have already seen this shift in voter 100%. Identification.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's something which I think they will only catch up with when it finally happens at an election. What they do about it at that point, as you say, whether they'll come together as a sort of grand coalition sounds improbable, But if they're down to those sort of double figures each, maybe it's something they'll look at.
We will see. Nigel, great to have you on, sir. Thank you. Nigel Fletcher, political historian, King's College London. Thank you to him. Over to you, 0344 499 1000. Can you see any of that happening? What would it take? What do the other parties need to do? Do we need to simply recalibrate our entire political system to make it more reflective of cross-party views? I can't see it happening. Reform are loving every bit of this as well. Our lines are open. This is Talk.